If you're just tuning in, we had a great session with Route 50 on revamping voter registration in the cloud. Great discussion. I'm George Jackson, executive producer of GovExec TV. Let me pose a question for you here. Are you ready to think differently? Let's talk rethinking the future of cybersecurity infrastructure with Harry Kidder, Cloud Technology Director at Peraton. Hi, Harry. How you doing?
I'm doing good, George. Thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit about your role at Peraton.
Yeah, George. At Peraton, I am the Cloud Technology Director there. And one of the things that I do, and I have a passion for, is setting the direction and strategy for my teams as well as for our programs, and specifically in the areas of cloud, cybersecurity, DevSecOps, as well as organizational change management. Part of this is, about engineering solutions to enhance our customers' cloud security. But it's also, going in and looking at cloud through different lenses, or different optics, be it the mission or a business-related problem, cost, maybe even security posture. So it's a very dynamic role.
So as you go in to engineer those solutions that enhance cloud security, is that mostly on the federal civilian side? Is that on the DoD side, or is it yes, yes, and yes?
Actually, it is yes, yes, and yes. I've worked across both the civilian side as well as the defense side.
Talk a little bit about zero trust, Harry. It's a phrase that we're hearing quite a bit these days. Give us the Peraton definition of zero trust and what type of work you're doing there.
Okay. So with zero trust, in today's enterprise environments, we have applications and services that are reaching out beyond the traditional data center and network perimeters. And these new technologies, such as mobile, cloud, Internet of Things, as they go beyond these traditional cyber perimeter defenses, we need to shift our paradigm to how we manage and control our data to help mitigate and minimize this, the risk for cyber security, because we want to protect that data and all that communication. And so it really is a balancing act to protect these systems without impacting the delivery of the mission. And so the goal of implementing zero trust is to provide a new security architecture that is adaptive to these emerging technologies, as well as to emerging threats and the changing digital landscape, and do this with a better business and user experience. And so zero trust architecture is really a holistic cybersecurity framework that applies rigorous security controls, network identity, application services, and data. So it's really all encompassing. And so at Peraton, we've actually developed a 12-pillar cloud ZTA solution that implements zero trust security for cloud infrastructure and applications in an as-a-service security offering. So an offering for each one of those pillars. Our solution provides a comprehensive security controls and modern security solutions for addressing all of the zero trust requirements and deliver security and business resiliency. Our solution is designed to meet our customers where they are today and get them into a good ZTA architecture, and enable them to adopt ZTA as quickly as possible.
Harry, briefly, why is the as-a-service portion of things important there?
Well, one of the things we've heard at Peraton, and in my experience, is our customers are really focused on budget, because that is one of the key challenges in the cloud. And for most government agencies as well, is they're really focused on budget, that they want to be able to deliver their services, but they very limited funding. And so by focusing on budget and as delivering these as a service offerings, we can actually control, or the customer can actually control how much they're spending, and they, based on their priorities, being able to deliver on their mission with just what they need in the time that they need it.
These zero trust journeys, Harry, are relatively new. The cyber EO was only passed last May. When you're getting in there at an agency, what kind of foundational work is common right now? What do you have to focus on first to help these organizations just simply start that journey to zero trust?
No, and that's a great question, George. So one of the foundational actions that we take with our customers is, guide them through assessing their current maturity level, and also where their zero trust priorities lie, be it the security controls or the various attack surfaces that are out there today, as well as their technology portfolio and their asset configurations, and as well as looking at and being able to manage their data footprint. Once that assessment is over, we move more into the, perform the gap analysis of that. Where do the gaps lie? And then working with the agencies, guiding them through this process of, okay, here's your gap. These are the steps that we can take to, help you fill that gap, so that way, or bridge the gap, so that way it's not there. For example, one of the things that we've done is, help our customers revamp their identity and access management. So, being able to apply, machine learning and artificial intelligence to help guide, and detect, user access across their systems. For example, if you have Jane Smith, who normally logs in from work from 9 to 5, but then on her mobile device, she'll check her email various times during the night. That's great. That's her standard user pattern. But suddenly at 2:30 in the morning, we see Jane Smith accessing it from China. Well, that pattern, can be detected, and also, additional rules applies to provide that contextual security to ensure that there is not a data breach. So that's just one of the ways, but it does start with the assessment and that gap analysis.
Once you've conducted that gap analysis, what are some common struggles that you have found that agencies have in this area?
Another good question. So cloud is a challenge for zero trust architecture. And as I mentioned earlier about, that location-based, that data center or network perimeters, of old, with zero trust, cloud, provides a unique aspect of that. And being able to stand up resources, in the cloud, being elastic, so to speak, and, where resources get created and destructed, quite regularly, those old paradigms no longer work. They can't keep up. So therefore, with our solution, we're able to, provide management of these resources in a very secure fashion. Another one, as I mentioned earlier, is budget, and being able to provide a flexible, cost-efficient, set of services. So that way, the clients can also, can use the right services they need at the right time. And then the last part of this, one of the biggest challenges, is human behavior and the organizational readiness. With that, we do provide, effective change management practices and education. And so there's ways to manage and mitigate all of these challenges. But again, having that good plan of action and that experience is key.
I'm going to tie two things together here, Harry, and tell me if I'm off base, okay? You mentioned earlier that agencies need to manage their data footprint. And several times during the course of our conversation, you've talked about efficiency, in essence, just making sure that agencies from a spending standpoint are doing everything that they can to be efficient. How, if at all, are those two connected? Management of their data footprint and an efficient or effective use of spending agency-wise?
Right. So another great question, George. So with the data in the cloud, things can get out of control. The data gets spun up. There's data upon data upon data, all that metadata. So being aware of exactly what your services and your data is doing is key. I believe at one point there was a metric out there that the cost in the cloud is about 65% data related. And so being aware of your data footprint, how large it's growing, how quickly it's growing, where it's located, and the security parameters around that is key. And then creating solutions to manage all that, whether it is a SIEM tool or a UEBA tool, it's all about managing access to that data. Because in the past, security was about protecting a physical location. But in the cloud, data is everywhere. And your data could be in Virginia, it could be in Ohio, it could be in Seattle. And you need a flexible, cost-efficient solution to manage all of that. Does that answer your question, George?
Sure does. Yeah. And I love how you weave that together. So Harry, we've covered a ton of ground today. Engineering solutions, your 12 pillars, as a service, the importance of running gap analysis, identity and access management, and even where emerging tech like artificial intelligence can plug in there. Distill this down for our audience, maybe one key takeaway, one focal area they should walk away from this great conversation and focus their energies.
Okay, great question. So one of the key things is every government agency today is either already approaching and adopting a hybrid multi-cloud environment, or they're looking into it. This architecture makes for a more complex operational environment. It also increases the attack vectors that someone can use. Zero trust architecture is an effective solution for managing cybersecurity risks across these complex operational environments. There are solutions out there that implement technology that supports native cloud services, and they do it with flexibility and agility, and using artificial intelligence to be able to recognize, off normal patterns. But the final takeaway for all this, for me, is that zero trust architecture is a journey. It's not a one and done. It requires organizational change management, roadmap development, and engineering planning to ensure mission success.
Well, Harry Kidder, Director of Peraton's Cloud Technology. Thanks for being here, sir. Great talk.
Thank you.
And a big thanks to Peraton for making events like this Cloud Summit possible. To our audience, stay active in the chat and be sure to check out some great resources housed in this event platform, including Peraton's resources. Up next, bringing customer service to the cloud. I'm George Jackson. Have a great day.